doing?
Hey everybody, I am Chad Wesley Smith. This is a very special episode of the JuggLife podcast, joined as always, but this time via FaceTime, as he's up at the American Open Series 1, Mr. Maximum Notorious MAX, Max Inda. Max, how you doing, buddy?
Doing well.
Good. You excited? Got a big afternoon of lifting for the team this afternoon?
We got a lot. We got 28 people this weekend.
You're going to be a very busy, very tired man the next time I see you. And we are joined by a bevy of guests, the Iron Sisters, some of the most accomplished powerlifters, male or female, really, in the entire world. So as we can kind of go around and introduce one by one.
I'm Jen Thompson.
Marisa Inda.
Bonica, Lough.
Kimberly, Walford. Francis Manius.
All right, so we're very excited to have them here. They got a few seminar events going on this weekend. In fact, last weekend when you're watching this, but today at Barbell Brigade, and then tomorrow and Sunday at Juggernaut. So before we get into what Iron Sisters is and everything you guys are doing there, very recently you all had a very kick-ass weekend.
Heck yeah.
Arnold Sports Festival, huge event for the USAPL IPF, and really the top performers of the whole weekend. So I'll brag about you guys for you, so you don't have to toot your own horns. Correct me if I'm wrong on any numbers here. It started out Friday. Bonica was the Raw Challenge champion, and just missed the 606 world record. That would have been world record.
Well, not official because it wasn't official
Okay.
IPF meet, but unofficial. Yes, correct.
Speaking of unofficial world records, Miss Kimberly Walford had one of those to her credit. You pulled 562? 67. That's 217 and a half kilos?
Yes,
No.
Kilos.
You know kilos better than me.
Yeah.
No, 257 and a half kilos. 257 and a half kilos in the pro deadlift, and that you won. How many times in a row have you won that?
6 times.
How many times have they had that?
I don't know when they started.
All right, talk a little louder for me too.
Oh, okay.
There we go. We gotta pick up that voice.
No problem.
And then another bench press world record
Yeah.
for Mrs. Thompson here. 314.
Mm-hmm.
So 142 and a half kilos. And this was because you had just made that 317 and a half, but you were actually lifting as a 72.
Yeah.
There, right? A 63.172.
Yeah, I was like 138.9.
Was that intentional, by the way, or
Yeah.
okay?
I've been looking for a meet because I actually broke 11 world records with between the single lift and the full powerlifting bench press, and then the open and the masters. It was 11 world records in that one meet, just in bench press.
Max and I were actually talking about this. How many records cause we had a whole episode on this a few weeks ago about making powerlifting more competitive. And we host meets at the gym, and we get into giving a lot of first place medals for divisions with one person in them. And we had someone contact us looking for sponsorship who had how many state records?
74 state records.
74 state records. And we were theorizing, I wonder how
How
many
do
meets.
you get that?
Like, how many meets has this person done? Like, I bet it's 2. I bet they did 2 records. And I think it would be possible to break 36 records in one meet if you did 2 division, if you're masters and open, and then full power, bench only, push pull, deadlift only, and then you break it on the opener, second, third kind of thing. I think 36 records, but these were real world records, not the made up ones that we're talking about here.
I think the only one I didn't break on the first one was the open single lift bench press for the 72s, and then but I did it was the open powerlifting, and then the masters open and single lift, and then after that it was all of them for the next 2.
So you didn't
11.
You didn't open with the world record.
I did for the masters, and
well,
then for the
maybe
open
next
free
time
lift.
then. Maybe next time
Yeah,
it'll be a little bit
I
more
almost
impressive.
considered changing it for that reason, but I decided not to.
And then of course you had quite the day.
Stella!
9 for 9 Grand Prix
First time
champion.
ever. White lights on squat.
Yeah.
27 white lights. I'm thinking it might be the first time I've ever even coached someone who went 9 for 9, because I've definitely never done it myself. But yeah, world record total The real lift, the one lift that matters, the total lift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's all three. I mean, that
Yeah.
is awesome.
So it was a phenomenal weekend for all the women here. Continually pushing, I think, what people's concept of what is possible for female strength athletes further and further, and getting a ton of publicity while they're at it. You've been all over everything.
Yeah, I don't know. Yes.
And
That Liberty University thing just catapulted me into I don't know, craziness.
how many views have those videos gotten? Do you know?
Millions.
Millions.
Yeah, and in different sites, and it keeps popping up, and I just had no idea that was going that way.
Well, that's because Marissa's had viral videos before, not powerlifting at all. So it's the pull up
So it's cool.
Yeah,
The
pull-ups.
video
Right.
goes viral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that everyone's like, oh, you're the chick that bench presses a lot, instead of where they're like, you're the dancing pull up person.
You're a stripper on a horizontal bar.
I don't think anyone thinks
No, somebody asked me that.
yes, people are stupid.
Yeah. So with all that publicity and with what you guys are doing with the Iron Sisters, tell me a little bit more about this seminar tour that you're going, and what the goal with that whole thing is.
You bring up the fact that these gals have a lot of celebrity right now, and it was only a short time ago really that I was made aware, because I started powerlifting, just dabbled in 2010, and then 2012 kind of jumped in with both feet. And at that point, you gals were competing in Russia at the first IPF Worlds. So I see Kimberly deadlifting over 500 pounds. I see Jennifer benching over 300 pounds, and I'm saying to myself and the people around me, why doesn't anybody know these people? Why isn't anybody talking about these people? So, really, Iron Sisters started because I thought, I know that they can toot their own horn, but just like you said, they're not good at doing it, or they weren't back then, right? And I think everybody's kind of put in a better position if somebody else says, hey, this is what you've done, and I want to celebrate that. And I think that was the founding factor for Iron Sisters. So it was first to celebrate what these great strength accomplishments were, right, by women, and put them on the pedestal, and cheer for them, and say, hey, also let's share this with so many other people if we can, and then let's educate others to basically what's possible in the world of strength for women. Because for the longest time, right, I've been in the gym and competing in bodybuilding and doing these things myself, but it was just me and maybe a select few, and we need to see more and more women get involved. And so to celebrate, for one, to educate more women, to say, hey, this is truly possible, and then to take the best in the world, basically, and to say you too can get better by doing the kinds of things that they're doing, and that's basically where we started, and here we are today.
And how many seminars have you guys done thus far?
So we started in Canada with one. Kimberly came up, and there's a story in that as well. Got food poisoning on the way to the event. Managed to pull it off. Just said, I'll do what I got to do. Right, coach, put me in. I can squat, bench, deadlift, no problem. And so that was in the summer of 2014. The following year at Arnold's, I introduced myself to Jen and Bonica. Brought Jen up for the second year in Canada, where we run this in Hamilton, Ontario. That was 2015. We ran another event then. We decided basically last year after Worlds, right, that we'd bring Bonica on board. And
On my birthday.
on your birthday, was it your birthday? It was your birthday present. Welcome to Iron Sisters, and then created Iron Sisters USA, and here we are, sort of launching the camps across the U.S., which is so we're relatively new in this endeavor.
Very cool, very cool. As I personally travel around, doing seminars and stuff all the time, and it's a very, certainly rewarding experience, but it's fun to get to see them, help conquer a new problem every weekend or every other weekend as you're doing these, and just see that joy on someone's face when it's it clicks for them and they hit that PR. So very, very, very cool with all of that. Let's talk about, as your guys' athletic backgrounds, what got you into powerlifting, how long you've been training, because of this explosion of social media popularity stuff. I think even though people may have just only recently heard of you, they don't realize the decades of work that have gone into doing this stuff. So, Kim, I know you were a track athlete before, because we've had done an interview with you before. So 400 meter at University of Florida. And then, so how long have you been like seriously training?
Lifting weights since I was 13, so 23, about 25, 26 years.
25, 26 years. And how long for powerlifting?
It's been about 16 years.
Damn, I don't know, you've been competing that long. Yeah.
Oh.
I was saying, I just didn't know. 16, so 25 years. So a lot of, you've been training as long as a lot of the girls you're competing against have been alive at this point. And I think that's something that important for any women watching. It's not, you're not taking your bench from 135 to 205 in a year. Like it's just not going to happen. Like putting that expectation on themselves is going to be an unrealistic thing. That with the bench press particularly, and I want to talk to Jen more about that. But it's a long road for the female lifter, eking out kilo at a time. Like when you started, the first time you benched, Jen, how much could you bench?
I was just doing dumbbells. I didn't even do the bar when I first started. I just do dumbbells because I needed to build up a lot of the stability strength. Like when you take the bar, it'd be like, all over the place because you just don't have that muscle strength to have a smooth bar push motion. So we started with dumbbells, and then eventually moved to the bar, and I just put 10s on. And I was trying to work up to putting the quarters on because they're the next biggest one, and so it was very gradual. I started with just dumbbells.
And when did you start training?
I was in my, I sort of messed around with it in my 20s. Like I'd do it for a while, then I'd stop, or I'd pick it back up and I'd stop. And then toward my later 20s, I started doing it more consistently. And I think my first meet was 1999. So a while ago.
Ooh, I was in 4th grade, I think.
And
Elementary school.
so one of my favorite stories that Marisa's told me is about when she used to, they had like a little weight set at their house, and you used to like hustle your brother's friends in bench press contests, right?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Win money. Guys never think that girls have upper body strength, so.
Right.
Well, I think they think that even less when you're like a 80-pound 12-year-old.
Yeah.
Right. It gave a whole new meaning to hustle.
And did you hustle them in any arm wrestling contests?
Yeah, arm wrestling and bench pressing.
So you're because now people offer you money to
Yeah,
arm
they do.
wrestle.
Creepy older men.
Or drinks
Awesome.
or whatever.
So how long have you been training, babe?
I started lifting weights when I was 17. I was a gymnast before that, so I've been training for over 20 years.
And Miss Law?
Well, I didn't make the volleyball team when I was a freshman in high school, so it was either cheerleading or powerlifting, and I obviously did not pick cheerleading. And I knew nothing about lifting, nothing, didn't know what a weight was, and so I just started November 2002. But like the kicker though is my last competition was February 2008, and I didn't lift for 5 years.
Okay.
I didn't, absolutely nothing. And I changed jobs, and I kind of got peer pressured back. And then this lady here, after my first meet's like, see you at Nationals. Yeah.
You can't say no to her.
No.
Yeah.
No, she came after me. This one came after me.
Yeah.
So you weren't going to tell her no. Like,
No.
she gives you that face.
Well, I was just like, what are you talking about? Like,
She-
what's
she-
Nationals? I was out of the game for 5 years. I knew nothing.
She didn't ask
So-
you if you were doing nationals.
She told you.
She told me, yeah, she's like, see you at Nationals. This is 2013, so I've only been back, 4 years.
So was powerlifting a high school sport for you?
It was. It wasn't like a full-blown sport, but yeah, we had competitions 3 or 4 a year.
What state did you grow up in?
Michigan.
Okay.
Originally from Michigan, yeah. So it was just a little school, usually in the 30s graduation class, but we were in the 60s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we was a little tiny thing. Like I learned how to lift weights in a room this big. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Tiny.
Yeah, and I'm sure people who watch you guys lifts on Instagram and all that, they might get the impression that it's all PRs and medals and world records and stuff, but as everyone's faced challenges. Jen, what do you think has been one of your biggest challenges you've had to deal with as a lifter?
The squats.
The squats, everything about it.
Everything about them. They don't like me, and I don't like them.
Hey, come on.
Have you asked if you could maybe do a push-up with the bar on your back or something?
Well, seeing that my bench is equivalent to my squat, I could probably do that. I don't know. The challenges are, a lot of it is the knowledge, I think, especially when you first start, and especially Kim, she started, I think, probably with some guidance in your tracker or whatever you were doing. Like, we started just on our own, and you may not remember Bonica back in the 90s, the internet was not big.
Oh, no, even for, we went to competitions, from 04 to 08, there really wasn't any internet or nothing.
It was a lot of trying to figure things out on your own, and then you would go to these meets and try to gain some knowledge and apply it, and then, so it was a lot of trial and error, and we did a lot of things probably not as efficiently as we could have when we started, so that was probably the biggest challenge, was figuring out how to do all this stuff correctly, and then how to program, and we have so much knowledge now.
So the first time you were squatting and deadlifting, it was just I think you put it on your back and bend your knees and stand up, and you just kind of went from there?
I almost bombed out in the squat with 186 pounds.
I was left at that one.
I was high the first one. I fell back into the spotters on the second one. They had to catch me. And then the third one, I think they were just being really nice. And then I benched 236, and I learned how to deadlift the day before, and I pulled 315.
Right. Just pick it up off the floor. Right.
So it got heavier and heavier. Hey, it was low,
How hard
medium.
is this? So, that's a big learning curve.
236. When you benched 236 at your first powerlifting meet, was everyone there just
Yes.
there's a holy shit look on their face?
And that was raw too, because everyone was wearing these bench shirts and their arms were sticking out, and I'm like, what the hell are they wearing? What is this stuff, and why do they walk around like zombies? And this is so bizarre. And so then I met CJ Batten, who was kind of a coach from a really long time ago that happened to be at that meet. And so he tried to well, this is a bench shirt, you need wear this to be competitive, and kind of gave me some tips. And he's like, you really need to go to nationals, because you're benching more than they're doing there without these shirts on.
So when he said that you need this to be competitive, it
wasn't
wasn't
true.
quite right.
Yeah, I never really got much out of them, honestly. I won 4 IPF equipped world championships in the bench press first. I only did bench press before I started powerlifting. And I won 4 gold medals, but I probably only got 15, 20 pounds out of them.
Max, were you going to say something there?
No. I was going to ask, have you guys ever had any major injuries or setbacks or anything like that?
I've had some injuries, but not from powerlifting. I broke my ankle wakeboarding. I blew out my knee wakeboarding. I ended up having to have neck surgery because I had a lot of trauma from wakeboarding. Then I quit wakeboarding.
She's hardcore, man. She kept going.
This is a fluke. I can overcome this. I had my ACL replaced with a cadaverous ligament. And then I had a pinched nerve, and I couldn't even raise my arm over my head.
So it was one wakeboarding injury, you get back on the horse there, but once you hit 3, it wasn't.
And then I decided it wasn't my
anymore.
sport. I got good enough to really hurt myself, is what it came down to. But I did have to overcome those.
Definitely. What about injuries, challenges for you, Kim?
The QL, that was the first real injury. I mean, I like to call everything else irritations. I say if it doesn't affect range of motion and you can still work out, then it's not a real injury. But I know I was just psyching myself up. But the real one was QLs. I strained them, and it took me about a year to get to recover from that.
And that was stuff you've been dealing with very recently, right?
What's a QL?
Quadratus labrum.
Is there a muscle that goes up there or something?
Hey,
Yeah,
that's why I said QLs, man. That's the name for it.
How about for you, Bonica? And injuries or just general challenges?
So at Raw Nationals, I decided to tell Kim, I'm one of my last squats, I hurt myself.
At Raw.
And
At Nationals.
for people who don't know, Kim is Bonica's coach.
So I'm like, Kim, I hurt myself. She's like, what? I'm like, yeah. I hurt myself so I strained my calf and my hamstring a little bit.
Like
Doing what?
During
What were
the
you
squat
doing?
or before?
Oh, it was the week before nationals. It was just doing stiff leg deadlift.
Not weight.
No, it was a stiff leg deadlift. That's all I did.
I hope you guys are capturing Kim's face. It is awesome.
But I told myself I'm not going to yell at her here.
I know.
She needs to
I
focus
thought
on
I'd be
lifting,
fine.
But I was just like, okay.
But she yelled at me for her. She's like, do you know what she did?
Did she really?
Yes.
So that's like the really only injury I kind of really had. Challenges for me, honestly, it's just like in the gym working out. Like it's nice. I like to work out alone, but then I like to have people around and like a spotter. Like, I'm squatting over 500. I'm like, oh, slim picking on spotters today. They're all little beanfuls. This sucks. Or like, okay, can anybody like give lift off over 275 on bench? Oh no. Like that's the hardest. It's just like I had a workout partner, but then he moved, and so it's just like that's been a struggle.
You the strongest person in your gym, male or female?
It depends on the lift, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's rough.
Which lift has been the hardest for you to bring along?
Deadlift, yeah. Because it's just my anatomy, and it's just hard to keep it close to the body.
Well, you got a good
Yeah.
coach for that.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna do this weekend. So,
How about for you?
I just had like thoracolumbar in my back, and before that, just minor stuff.
What about specifically for the two of you? Bonica, do you have kids?
No.
No. Well, then I'm not asking you this question.
All on that side.
Yeah, those are the moms on that side.
Yeah,
Fur babies.
Like
That's called fur babies.
the challenges of training, like through pregnancy, after, with the kids. Tell me about that.
I trained through both my pregnancies. I didn't really let that affect anything. Of course, towards the end, there's some things you have to modify because you can't do the same type of movements. But even after, I made it a point to get right back in the gym. And my kids have pretty much literally grown up in the gym. They hate it now, but.
Well, your daughter's sometimes she likes it.
Sometimes when she sees the bikini girls and have big butts, then she likes it. But
But she doesn't want to have man hands.
she doesn't want to have man hands or look manly. So, but she's actually very strong, so it's kind of a pity that she's in that 13-year-old mindset right now. But my kids love the gym. They've always gone. My daughter's trained a few times, and they really just don't have a choice. I'm a parent.
Lincoln's got his top abs.
He's got his top abs, so he's pretty pleased with that. But yeah, no, I think it's good. I think it's good that they've seen that I'm still chasing, goals and stuff. Even though my daughter said that I was pretty unimpressive at the Arnold because I said I was going to pull 420 and I only pulled 413. So unimpressive.
Hardest critics you got there.
Yes, they're the worst.
Well,
Yeah.
we gotta send your daughter to Max and get her into some weightlifting.
I do.
Yeah.
Put that gymnastics to work. What about for you, Jen?
I lifted. Well, my first son we adopted, so that was easy in the birthing part.
And you guys adopted him from Russia,
yeah.
right?
And my
Just
intention was
importing the lifters.
Yeah, well, my intention was to continue that, and then Brody surprised me. So I ended up. I did lift through his pregnant being with him, but I was always very careful. Kind of like the rule of thumb was like you can lift as long as you can talk through what you were doing, and it's sort of like a hard line. You get a lot of questions about that, and there's definitely things you shouldn't be doing. I think it's great to stay in shape, but ultimately, you're not going to compete while you're pregnant. So you're just trying to maintain a good health. So I think that's important to keep that in mind. But I really struggled when they were little. They were a baby and 2. It was my competition weights probably stayed pretty stagnant for like 3 years. Like I really did. I just kind of hung in there. So tired all the fucking time. I was just tired constantly. And then when you did work out, like you got the kid in the car seat and you're trying to rock him and give him a bottle in between sets, back and forth. And it was. That time for me was really dark. I can't wait for those kids to grow up.
You're really helping these ladies.
Oh my God, it was hard. I'm not sugarcoating it.
Kids aren't
was
watching
tough.
this either.
We didn't have family to watch kids or anything, so it was.
It's definitely hard, but I think that's why it's important to continue still having some normalcy and doing the things that you did before you have kids, because I think a lot of women think, I'm going to have kids, my life is over. No, it's not.
Yeah.
It changes.
And
obviously,
it's okay
but
to say
it's not
that-
over.
Yeah, and you don't have to pretend like it's all fantastic
definitely
and great.
sucks.
Like it's rough. But now my kids are 11 and 13, and my older one's competing now, and he loves it. Like he thinks it's awesome. My 11-year-old probably won't ever because he's like, and that's fine. You know, but this is where it gets fun. I feel like now that they're this age and they're in there lifting with you, and he's really excited about it. It's awesome.
Now, does he get worried that he's never going to bench press more than his mom?
No, he thinks he's stronger than me. And then when I try to like give him tips on the bench press, he acts like I don't know what the heck I'm talking about.
Of course
And
not.
I have to remind him who I am. I'm like, why are you arguing with me? Do you know who I am? Do you know what I do? And it's like, you know, if you would come up and tell him, he'd be like, oh, that's great. Thank
Say
you.
the exact same thing, yeah.
The exact same thing.
So yeah, that part's frustrating.
That's funny. I guess that really happens to. I was the same way. Like listening to my parents about homework type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They could tell me something, and then my brother would tell it to me. I'd do it. And,
Right.
But if my mom did, I never would. Now I don't think my mom probably couldn't bench the bar, so I wouldn't have been taking advice from her there. But for them to still not listen, because you know that it's easy to tell who's stronger. It's just who lifts more weight, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
But he's got this sort of, he lives in this really world of glass rose-colored glasses, like
Yeah.
where just everything's great, and we need to work on that. I need to bring my kid down to reality.
knocking down a few pegs.
But he's doing really good. He's got those Russian genetics, so he's super strong, just like you were talking about with your kids. Like since he was little, he's always been ripped with muscle. Like he looks like a little Hercules dude, and so weightlifting just was easy progression for him. So he likes it. But as a parent, like I struggle with like how much I push him, but then you don't want to be that mom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So how much you have to push them to understand you have to work hard to get success, but at the same point not pushing them, bullying them too roughly. You know what I mean? So it's a tough balance, honestly.
I don't push mine. They want to do it great. If they don't, they don't.
Well, I feel like Tucker, like he has a meet coming up in April, and he's sort of been slacking up. I'm like, well, you said you were going to do this. I paid for it. You will work your ass off until April, and then if you don't want to do it, fine. But you committed to this, and you're going to do it, and you're going to do it the best you can.
Do you ever come over like he just did a 1 rep max on the bench, come over and knock it out for like a set of 10, and you're like,
No.
how about you go clean your room now? do the dishes.
No, I wouldn't do that.
Flex on them.
Grind Sports Nutrition is committed to providing athletes with the highest quality supplements to fuel their training. Grind products are designed by Renaissance Periodization and contain only ingredients and dosages with substantial bodies of evidence to support their effectiveness. No fluff or fillers. Get on your grind because your success is earned, not given.
So with huge growth of the sport of powerlifting the last few years, and social media and CrossFit and all that stuff to thank for it, a lot of new women coming into the sport, a lot of women, men and women, but particularly women, maybe on the fence thinking, is this for me? Do I want to do it? What advice, we'll just go around to each of you, what advice do you have for that woman new to the sport, or maybe someone who's on the fence wondering if powerlifting is for them?
I'm going to take a page out of something Jen has talked about at some of our camps in the past, and something that came up in conversation with a bunch of different lifters at our Canadian Nationals while we were waiting around trying to get back from snowy Quebec into the real world. So we had lots of time to talk. But one of the things Jen has talked about, and I'm a big believer of this, and I even think Mark Bell's kind of on a bit of a kick on this as well, which is basically share your knowledge and bring someone along for the ride. Because it's fine and great if we're just in the gym and doing our own thing. But there are people, so yes, there's going to be those people on the fence, but there's going to be people that are on the fence, but they're just looking for that moment to jump in. And really what it takes is just that one person to say, hey, you, right? Like, have you thought of competing? And I think that's just the question that needs to be asked. So we got to be out there kind of proselytizing and preaching that this can be for you. And then the second thing is to give them that opportunity, because just as one gal shared with me, she said, the moment the bar was put in my hands, I knew that powerlifting was for me. And I think that's it's a powerful thing, right? Because, we know the connection that we have to the barbell, right? When you pick it up, whether you feel like training or not, right? You still go and you put the bar in your hands, you put the bar on your back, Jen, you do the squat workout, or, you get into your deadlifts, you get into your bench press, whatever it is. And more than likely, like Arnold Schwarzenegger said this, I'm going to go to the gym, and even if I don't feel like training, I'm going to start. And if I feel like leaving after that, then I'm gonna go. But most often, we get into our training, we feel the bar, we feel all those emotions, and then we're in it, and we stay. And so I think those two things, if you're already in it, go and bring someone else along for the ride. And then the other thing is just get that bar, get that bar in your hands. If you're on the fence, just put it in your hands and see what happens.
I would say finding the right type of support system with regards to like coaching and your training partners. I've been fortunate since the beginning that I've had like literally some of the best lifters in history as friends and family, and they've helped guide my career throughout the whole time, even up to present day. And it's nice to be able to surround yourself with people who understand your goals in lifting and will keep pushing you. And it doesn't matter regardless of level of, success, whether you're a champion or whether you're a local lifter. It's the fact of having people around you who understand your goals and continuously push you towards them. So and then with regard to the coach, I would say having that coach who has the experience to take you to where you need to be, but also understanding that if the coach isn't able to do that for you, being able to break if necessary and find that person that's going to help you continue pushing towards your goals. And that's something that's going to last throughout your whole career. You're always going to need a coach or a mentor or mentors, and you're always going to need great training partners, because I don't feel like any of us gets to where we are now or where we will be without people supporting us to do it. So.
Wow, how do I follow all that?
Just be you.
Well, honestly, first thing I think of is how do you know you don't like it if you don't try it? You gotta try it. You gotta stick it out there. Just like when I changed jobs, I just picked a different job, and hey, I'm still there for 4 years. But kind of building off what you were saying, it's the gym environment. You gotta have a nice, good community and people that will push you, people that will help you. Even though I said there's slim pickings of spotters, but they're great people, and they'll still help me, even though they might not have the confidence, but they'll still help me out. And she kind of took everything I wanted to say. Yeesh, well, we think alike, I guess. But yes, a coach, having somebody there motivate you. There's been days I'm like, Coach, I don't feel good. I don't have it in me. And then she just sparks me and sends text messages, motivational messages, and boom, I get the fire and go. And just surrounding yourself with the people. And then when I come to powerlifting meets, everybody loves to go to Christmas and Thanksgiving. I'm like, I don't care about those holidays. Because this kind of thing, this is my holiday. This is what I treasure. So it's the people, And then when you come to it, I forgot the question already. It was advice about it. But I just try it. Just step out and just try it. Give us a shot. Do a meet. Meet the community of people. That's what makes the sport great. It's the people. Yeah.
You guys all had a great here's the ideal sort of way to bring people in. Do you have any maybe things that you see that have changed? Because all you guys competed for so long, and we all know kind of what it was like 10, 15 years ago, the landscape of meets and all this and the whole community. Are there things now you would tell a new lifter, or maybe if you saw a lifter kind of doing things, not just technique or training wise, but maybe things you would say to avoid, or things you would say, hey, you don't want to go down that road, or you don't want to try and start like this, or there's things that maybe have changed about the landscape that you kind of don't enjoy as much, or don't think is a positive aspect to it, or if there is anything.
Well, I think sort of like what Kim was saying, with social media and YouTube and stuff, there's so much information out there. It's not always good, right? So you have to really be careful. With her comment about the coaches, there's so many online coaches now, and there's a good there's some people that will just grab onto a big name and then say I'm the greatest coach ever. And you can really have good skills as to picking a good coach and looking at who they coach and who they actually started with and made good, I think. So I think when you're looking to get into the sport, you can't just go into it blindly. You have to do some research, maybe get some personal reputations, but also look at when you're going to spend money on something, and some of these things are pretty expensive. If you're going to spend money on something, you need to make sure it's good quality and that you've seen that they've developed a good product. And then like Kim said too, like it's okay if that person just isn't working for you. There's lots of other options out there. So I think you have to be kind of smart about it now, because when we first started, there was nothing.
Yeah.
Like there was no YouTube, no social media. It was we were reading Muscle and Fitness magazine trying to figure out how to do some things.
Well, and just how much different the USA
once a month.
just how much different the USAPL was. I mean, you said your first meet was in 1999. Did you go to nationals in 1999? And there was maybe
it was a handful of people, and it was like in a VFW hall. I mean, it was just bad.
So we're going from maybe 100 people, absolute maximum, even less than that, to now 1,200 lifters this year. That's it'd be very cool for you guys to know that. I mean, you're probably a big reason why that growth has occurred, but that's going to be a way different vibe than before.
Well, and I think when you're talking about someone that just is not sure about getting into it, I mean, lots of people are doing some great seminars now. So what a great opportunity just to get in and listen to someone with some knowledge and get your feet wet that way. You guys are doing seminars, the Juggernaut, we are. I mean, lots of people are doing all sorts of things. So you have so many opportunities where you could just check into it and then put your feet in, kind of gradually work your way into things. That's so nice. I wish I had that.
Yeah, we didn't have the internet back then or anything. It was rough.
I think most girls get afraid of getting too bulky, getting too big, or wanting to look a certain way. So my advice would be chase strength. The looks will come, the aesthetics will come from that. And, don't try to cut weight for like people who are currently in the sport. I think is the biggest mistake females make is trying to be in the, the lowest weight class possible if they're 5'7". It's like, no, fill out your frame. Take some time to fill out your frame. And it takes time to put on muscle. Lots and lots of
Well,
time.
it cracks me up, like when you talk to people like, oh, I'm not going to do a meet yet because like I'm not going to win that one. I need to get my numbers up.
Who cares?
That's just silly. Like you just need to get into it. Like there's such a huge learning curve in here. Just get your feet wet. You can't. It seems so silly to me that you think you're on your very first meet you're going to go in and like PR everything and worry about where you place. I mean, there's so often that you just need to get in there and do it and meet people.
Yeah.
And putting so much pressure on this one moment.
We did a video a couple weeks ago, like a guide to your first powerlifting meet. And that's a pretty common excuse I hear is like, well, I'm not strong enough to do a meet yet. And if you're waiting to be strong enough to do the meet, you're never going to be strong enough. Like, because you're always going to want to be stronger before you do it.
Right.
Because everyone else is going to keep getting stronger as well. So I think it is important to just kind of dive in and
do like a practice meet or something, or just know you're just going to get in there. Josh Rohr was talking about that the other day, and he goes, I make my athletes, before they're even ready, I make them go do one. And all we're going to do is just get 3 lifts here, 3 lifts here, 3 lifts here, and he doesn't even let them max out. Just makes them get in there and do it.
Yeah, the couple times we've been to Australia, the thing that gyms are really big on there is they do these novice comps, which are like unsanctioned. It's almost like a meet plus a clinic kind of. So yeah, if you jump the start command, they'll still give you the lift and they'll tell you make sure you fix this on the next one. They're not passing like high squats and unlocked deadlifts. This isn't an IPA meet, but it's just not for novices. I'm ruthless against all federations. So but I think that's something that might be worthwhile starting to push in the U.S. is that lower stress sort of environment.
Right.
So coming up next for you all, competition-wise, anyone have anything between now and Worlds?
I have the raw bench press Worlds in 4 weeks.
Back to
I'm going
Killeen,
to.
Texas, huh? Just couldn't get enough Killeen. No one can get enough Killeen.
Hey, holiday. It's my holiday. Don't ruin my holiday. I get to see my friends. Come on.
See your friends and then be like,
I
all
got
right.
my friends. Oh,
friend.
I'm going to Dallas afterwards.
Yeah.
Somewhere cool.
Yeah, like, let's
We're
drive
gonna go
90
boat
minutes.
fishing.
It's my kid's spring break. I'm like, we're going to Korea. Yay!
So bench world's there. I mean, what's the goal? Another world record and
Yeah, whatever it is. 152. Yeah, let's go for that.
and we'll go have a party in Belarus.
Yeah, I'm excited about
Yeah.
that. It's gonna be fun.
That'll be exciting. What about what's coming up next? Iron Sisters wise, where are you off to next?
We're off to Gaglione Strength in Long Island, April 1 and
Gags.
2, Gags.
Gags.
April 1 and 2. And then we're in Jen's neck of the woods,
Yeah.
Brutal Iron
Brutal
Gym
Iron.
in South Carolina.
Yes, Fort Rock Hill, just
Oh,
south of
right.
Charlotte.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Well, awesome, man. Where can people sign up for
So
that?
they can sign up at ironsistersusa.com/registration, and then we'll also be announcing, or we'll also be opening registration for the original Iron Sisters Strength Camp back in Canada in Hamilton, Ontario. That's July 21 to 23.
All right, good time. And where can people learn more and follow along with each of you on social media?
So Iron Sisters on Facebook, Iron Sisterhood on Instagram.
Track Food on Instagram and Kimberly Walford on Facebook.
There was some debate the other day whether it was Track Foo or if it was Track FU.
It's Track Food. Basically, that was the name of my high school varsity track clique. We considered like track as like spiritual, as like art, like kung fu. So we named our clique of varsity players Track Fu, and I just kept it all these years.
I always thought it was that you really liked the CD Shaq Fu. That's not what it was?
Horrible.
Okay. What about you, Bonica?
I'm Bubbly Powerlifter on Instagram.
That doesn't
Yeah.
make sense.
I know, it's horrible. Should be like, I don't know, antagonist lifters. I don't know.
Marisa Inda. Or Marisa.
That's
Marisa.
Marisa Inda.
I don't know why people have such a hard time saying
Marisa
it.
Inda.
You guys,
It's 'cause they don't
you guys
have that
even
shit.
know names.
And you don't even need like a number after it. Nobody has that name.
No, someone else does?
No, actually, my mom named me after my cousin who lives in Spain, who has the
Yeah.
exact same name. Thanks, Mom. So creative.
Oh.
And I mean, you and your sister almost have the same name
I
too.
know. Can't help it.
Yeah. Juanita needs to work on
She
her
needs to work on
name
her
selection.
name. Yes, she does.
For social media, it's Jen Thompson 132, and then Facebook's 132 Pounds of Power, and YouTube too.
All right. Then coming up next in the Juggernaut world, we have a squat workshop April 8th with myself, Marisa, and Max, the computer man, Montana. Then the weekend after that, the 15th, we have a snatch workshop. Max, Joanne, Colin, Courtney, Pomp, Pope, all teaching that.
Should I be there teaching?
You would be there, but you're not as good as me. Max, who's better at snatching?
It's definitely Chad right now.
That's right.
Whatever.
I would think that
That's
He'll
right.
lead by a small margin, though.
But
I don't
not.
know if you win by Sinclair at this point.
Oh, Sinclair.
Well, are we using Sinclair Malone Metzler, or what's the?
Age adjusted. If it's age adjusted, she's gonna crush you.
Oh, damn it.
Boom.
Just aesthetics, though, it's me for sure. And how surprising it is that I'm good. I also win on whatever that coefficient is.
Shock value. Sure.
The shock value coefficient.
Okay.
So we've got that coming up in April. Then the end of April, myself, Dr. Quinn, Dr. Mike, Dr. James Hoffman will be in Arlington, Texas for a Juggernaut Performance Summit, teaching all about programming, nutrition, mobility, and recovery. All the big 4 things you need to know to really have an effective program, all under one roof in one day. Simultaneously, Max will be in New Zealand with a couple of clinics out there. Send him an email, max@jtsstrength.com, to learn more for that. Then we have our dueling seminars in Texas.
Right.
I will be in Austin. Max will be in the much less fun College Station the weekend of June 3rd and 4th. So check those out, and registration for sure mine will be up on the website soon, and is Brazos Valley Barbell is handling all the stuff for Max, or send him an email about that. Beyond that, subscribe to the YouTube. Best lifting YouTube content there is. We're very proud of what we do there. Juggernaut online coaching programs, check that out. Also, thank you to our wonderful sponsors, Virus International, Grind Sports Nutrition, Trifecta Nutrition, and Pastries and Power Cleans. It's a lifestyle. If you enjoyed the podcast, head over to iTunes, give us a 5-star rating, maybe write us a funny review and we'll read it on the podcast. Thank you to the Iron Sisters. I wanted to call it Women of the USAPL, but I was vetoed.
You're not allowed to say USAPL anymore. It's USA Powerlifting.
Oh,
Get it
okay.
right.
Oh, we're not supposed to say USAPL?
I only break the rules.
Yeah, I'm breaking the rules too.
I'm a bad boy of the USAPL. I'm
We're gonna get him a T-shirt.
A non-competing member now as well.
You're so
I was going to wear a Public Enemy Public Enemy T-shirt to the Arnold, but they're riding high. They're riding high on Team CWS at least for another week. But, this is the JuggLife podcast. Go ahead, give us a 5-star review on iTunes if you enjoyed it, and if you didn't, go listen to something else. He's Max Ada at Max_Ada on Instagram. Find him on Facebook on his fan page, the illustrious Max Ada fan page. It's popping. That was a good Q&A you had the other day.
I liked the page.
Well, 120 people can't be wrong.
I'm Chad Wesley Smith at Chad Wesley Smith and at Juggernaut Training on Facebook and Instagram, filling up your newsfeed all day. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you to all of you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
Thank you. Toodles.